Hello and welcome to the MStar training session to change or update access on user's memory card for various screens of different modules. Using this functionality, you will be able to update the access rights and privileges on their cards, and accordingly, they will be able to access various functionalities of different modules, or you will be able to restrict their access to other modules. So let us see the steps to update the access rights on users' cards for screens in modules. Click on button M star. Select the module System Administration. The name of the module appears on the main screen, which means that you're now working in the System Administration module. Click on button Activities and select the screen User Privileges. As the screen opens, make sure that the first option, Screen, is selected, which means that through this we will be able to manage the access of all the screens within different modules. There are other options also like MS Report and Alert. So for MS Report and Alert, same way we can manage the access of reports and alerts in different employees or students for various modules. Let us see the steps for managing the access rights for screens within the module. After the selection of this option screen, click on the box next to the text User Type and three user types will appear: Student, Non-Teaching and Teaching. The student option would show the names of all the students against the applicable user role. The non-teaching option will show the names of all the non-teaching employees as against the applicable user role, and the teaching option will show the names of teaching employees against the applicable user role. So, based on the user role to whom you want to manage the access, select the user type. Let us select the user type as non-teaching for this example. In the next box, User Role, when we click, it will show all the user roles which are applicable to the selected user type. So if we select a different user type, let's say teaching, the user role will also be same. So select the user type and click on the box next to the user role, and it will display all the user roles applicable in the application. So let us select a user type as Fee Officer. As we select a user role, it will display the list of employees who are assigned the user role as selected. Let us see the other user roles also. So for General Administrator, there are 2 employees assigned. Similarly, we can keep changing the user role and it will show us different employees under each user role. If for any user role there is no employee, then the employee name will not appear in the grid. So let us select a user role as Fee Officer. It is now showing us 2 employees as Fee Officers. Let us see what all it is showing in the grid. The grid shows us the serial number, the user role. This is the same user role as we have selected for display. The username. These are the employee names which are assigned the selected user role. The employee number which has been entered in personal screen of the employees and in the personal screen of the HRM module, and the date of birth of the employees. After this, click on the option against the text Group or User. The option Group would mean that the user privileges as you are going to update will get applicable to the entire set of employees that are appearing in a specific user role. That means one user role is a group and all the employees under that user role falls within the purview of that group. Any changes that we make in the privileges for a group will get applicable to all the employees who are listed against that user role. Similarly, if we select user as an option here, in this case, the user privileges will apply only to a selected user in the user group, and it will not be applicable to other members of the group. In this case, the user will still show the user role as per selected, but his user rights and privileges will not be same as group. And every time if any changes in the group policy is done for the specific user, the access rights needs to be given separately. So let us select the group option first. As we select the group option, we don't need to click on any of these rows, and we can straight away go to the section module name. In this, click on the box next to the text module name and you will see the list of all the modules available in the application. Or you can click on the all modules to see the access rights of the group across all modules. As we click on this, the grid below will display the module name, the screen type, whether the screen is under business rules category or activities category, and the screen name. While we scroll down, we will see that this group, that is all the employees under this group, has the access to financial module screens, and they have the access to the HRM apply for leave screen, and no other screen is applicable to the group. We can also select a specific module such as financials, where we will see the access is available to all the screens. In the same grid, we have columns like add, modify, delete, view. These are various functionalities available within the screen. So for add, this would make the privilege for addition functionality in the specific screen for the user. The modify will make sure that the user will be able to edit or modify the details of the screen. The delete functionality will enable him to use the delete functionality in the screen, and the view functionality will allow him to view the details and use the view button on the screen. The other columns, print, email and export, are not applicable to the screens, but they are more relevant when we talk about MIS report access privileges. Now let us update the access rights of the group for a particular screen in this module. For this, click on the Y status, which means that it is currently enabled, and it changes to the N status, which means the access to this particular screen will now not be available for the add functionality. Similarly, under the modify functionality, click on the Y status and it becomes N, and this also would indicate that the users in this group will no longer be able to modify or add any details in the relevant screen selected. Repeat these steps for other columns, and this would now mean that this screen will no longer be available to the employees of the selected user group. In case you want to make other screens also inapplicable, then repeat these steps for other screens also. You can also make the use of the buttons available on this adjacent of the grid, which is select all add, deselect all add, which means that in case for all these screens we want to make the add functionality as inapplicable, it will deselect all in the add button. Let us see and click it. So we have deselected add. That means in all these screens this user group will not have access to add any new value. In case we want to select it back, click on the select all add button, and all the inapplicable statuses will become applicable again. You can click on other buttons like select all for modify. All the status will become as yes. Deselect all for modify. That means the modify functionality in all the screens will become disabled. Select all delete, which makes it applicable to delete any value in the selected screens. Deselect all for delete would again disable the delete functionality privilege to the user group. And keep clicking on these buttons to make it applicable or inapplicable. Now that we have made the changes in the user access rights, click on button Save. And the data saving confirmation message is received. Click OK on the confirmation message and the screen gets refreshed. Now let us again repeat these steps to see how to give the access rights of few screens where it is not available at all. So the option is selected as screen. Select the user type again as non-teaching and select the user role as we last selected. It is now showing us the list of employees under the selected user group. After this, click on the group option as we still want to manage the access rights of the group. And after that, select the modules. Let us first select the financials modules where we just made the updates. And we will see that the last made updates are saved successfully. Now let us change the module name and give the access to other modules. In this case, let us select all as an option. Now it will show all the modules access for the selected user group. Let us select the fee module now and we see that the access is blank for all the functionalities. Let us give the access to specific screens in the fee module to the selected user group. So click in the cell below the add column against the specific screen name and by default the first option Y appears, which means that the access for add functionality in this screen is now applicable to the user group. Again, click under the modify column for the screen, click under the delete column in the screen, click under the view column, print, email and export for the selected screen. Repeat these steps for other screens as required. In case you still want to make the Y status as N, you can further click on the Y status and it becomes N. Selecting other screens also for access. And once the same is done, we can click on button Save. Now since we have selected all modules, it is showing us the access privileges for all the modules. In case we still want to give the access to any other screen to this user group, the same can be done before we can save. In this also, we can make use of the buttons like select all for add or deselect all for add, select all for modify, deselect all for modify and select all and deselect all options for delete, view, print, email and export options. So if we click on select all add, then for all the modules, it will enable the functionality of add across all screens. So click on select all and it will add the functionality of add against all screens for the selected user group. Now after making these updates, let us again save the details. Click on the save button and the data saving confirmation message is received. Click OK on the confirmation message. It refreshes the screen. If you still want to go back and check, the same can be done now. And as we last saved, we can see the access against the selected screens. Now let us see the steps to manage user level access. Let us first clear the screen and select a user type, select a user role, and to manage the access at the user level, click on the user option. So the users under the user role are displayed in the grid below. Now to manage the access of specific user, click on the row of the username and it gets highlighted, and then Go to the module name, select a specific module. The access rights of the user group will display for the user and update the access rights as required. Click on Save. Before saving, it is again an important point to mention that once out of a group you select a specific user to manage the privileges, the user comes out of the policy of the group, and from now onwards you have to manage the access rights individually for the selected user. So once you have updated these access rights, click on button Save and the data saving confirmation message is received. Click OK on the confirmation message and you can repeat these steps for the group or users as required. Based on the access rights that you manage through these steps, the users will now be able to access the application as per the user privileges available on their OMV cards. Thank you for watching this video.